Now, a proof that economists use the phrase bigger than in this scientifically advanced way is that there occurs in their vocabulary another phrase which doesn't occur in ours, and it's difficult to explain this phrase in the absence of a large book. Does anybody have a large book? Nobody has a large book. Okay, I'll have to use the chair. In the economist's vocabulary, in addition to the phrase bigger than, there's another phrase which is strictly bigger than, right? Strictly bigger than. And if A is strictly bigger than Y for an economist, then it is indeed unambiguously bigger than Y, as far as the rest of us are concerned. I love you more than anything else in the world. Strictly? Well, strictly speaking, yeah, quite. Anyway, the economist's phrase better than obeys the same logic. If X is better than Y in economics, then, speaking in ordinary terms, X is at least as good as Y, but possibly no better than Y. X is better in the ordinary sense than Y, if and only if it is in the economist's sense strictly better than Y. Right. Now, if you have to prove that some X is better than some Y, and you're allowed to choose your senses. By the way, I hope you maintain the level of generosity that you've manifested so far. Because I need it, you know. I mean, the appearance of coolness is complete bullshit. Right? So don't kind of, even when it's easy to laugh now at the beginning when the stuff is fresh and funny, but, you know, save a little bit of energy for later when, right? Okay. If you have to prove that some X is better than some Y, and you're allowed to choose your senses, then you should choose to prove that X is better than Y in the economist's sense, because then, as long as you can show that that Y isn't actually better than X, you will be home and dry. And I shall use the word good in a corresponding way this evening. I shall mean by good, not bad. Meaning by not bad, not rather good, but simply not bad. So this evening, if a thing is neutral, that is neither good nor bad, then it will qualify as good, and I am surely as entitled to this usage as economists are to theirs of greater than and so forth, even though I'm not myself a scientifically advanced economist, but just a kind of pre-scientific, homespun, cracker barrel type Jewish philosopher. And the reason why I adopt this usage is, as I've said, it makes it easier to show how bad things can be good. Nevertheless, most of the ways that I'll review that bad things can be good will show them to be good in the ordinary, robust sense. But once or twice I'm going to have recourse to the weaker science of economic sense. Well, thank you for your patience. And now I'll start my taxonomy of ways that bad things can be good. The first way that a bad thing can be good is that it can enable you to recognize what's good about good things. Here, the bad thing functions as an illuminating contrast to what's good. I call this the epistemogenetic goodness of some bad things. That is, this sort of badness is good because it generates knowledge of the good, knowledge which in Greek is episteme. Now, although I am a philosopher who is famous in some quarters for his hostility to history. I mean, it just didn't go the way it was supposed to go, you know. Right? This first way that a bad, you know, I mean, they say to me, you're wrong. Look what happened to Marxism. Look what happened to the Soviet Union. You know, as though that shows that we're wrong. It shows that history is wrong. Right? Even then, that's too pious. It's too pious. Were you applauding, Eric? Yeah, not so. It's the piety. By the way, one of the reasons why I came to Madison was to show all the folk here that you can be a Marxist without being pious. However, and you can also be a good friend and be disloyal, I suppose. Now, although I'm not well known for my attention to and knowledge of history, this first way, the epistemogenetic way, that bad things can be good, I will introduce historically. And when I say history, I'm not fooling around. I mean distant history. extremely distant history. I mean a long time ago, I mean 1,000,000 years BC, when the best things in life were absolutely free. Let me put that another way. Let me put that in another way, perhaps with your help. Let's just see if we can express this thought, the thought of the epistemogenetic way that a bad thing can be good, in a more vivid way, with more, as it were, media, so to speak, right? Let's see what we can do. Let's at least try. What's happening behind me? Oh, that's just independent.